My name is John, and this is my good buddy Andy. And you're listening to the Packers Blitz podcast, the podcast done by two diehard Packer fans who survived the dark times of the 1980s, Packers football, and live to talk about it. This podcast is always dedicated to the world's greatest fans, Packer fans. Andy, take it away.
Wow.
How you doing, by the way?
Great. I'm doing great.
Okay.
Awesome, John. How about you?
I'm doing good, buddy. Very good.
Especially after last night.
So,
Right?
wow.
Packers game. Packers win, right?
Yes.
That's the Chiefs. Super Bowl champions. So, wow, I'm just honored to be on this podcast with John tonight, and so that we can talk about that incredible Packers victory over the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Even Taylor Swift in attendance couldn't change the outcome of that game. John, being a lifelong Swiftie yourself, how do you feel seeing her in attendance in Lambeau Field? And then what are your quick thoughts on the Chiefs' loss to the Packers?
Yeah.
Any comments on that?
First of all, we had our stars there. We had Simone. She was there. She was actually given 2 different hats.
I saw that.
So that's pretty funny. If you go to YouTube, check that out. It's very funny. She seems like a very nice young woman.
She's the GOAT. Yep.
She is the GOAT. Do you know, just really quickly, they changed some of the rules in gymnastics because of her. Because she's that good. Like, no one's even close. There is no debate. So any of you gymnastics fan, PackersBlitz80@gmail.com, bring it. There's no one close to her. She's the greatest of all time, the true GOAT. The other thing is one of my favorite independent actors, character actor, and great all-around person, Tony Shalhoub was there. If you don't know who he is, Monk. Yes, Men in Black. He's been in a number of other movies. He's been on Frasier. He's a great actor. He's from Green Bay. And he was there last night.
Yeah, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Correct. Correct.
He's in that too.
He's an amazing actor. He's won a number of Emmys. He's won a number of other awards.
And from Wisconsin, right?
From Wisconsin, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Awesome.
Yeah. So my quick thoughts are this, and then I'll let Andy do his quick rant. My quick thoughts are this. One, I can't believe this is the same Packers team from early October, mid-October. I don't know what it is, what happened, and we'll talk about this in more depth. The main thing was once the Packers got going, there was no doubt they were going to win this game. Even with Mahomes, and he is an incredible quarterback. And obviously, we'll get into some stats later. But just quick thoughts. I thought it was a great game plan. I thought everyone showed up. I thought the crowd was electric. I just think everything that the Packers did, again, was almost perfect. There were some mistakes, but we're starting to limit those. So very, very happy for the Packers. Andy, why don't you take it from there?
Yeah, I don't think I have this in the podcast anywhere, but yeah, I was trying to say it was such a positive game. I didn't want to talk about any of the mistakes, but yeah, the clock management, too many delay of game penalties. They had to take several timeouts. Yeah. But besides that, they were still making plays anyway, even when they were, had little snafus here and there.
Yep.
They were penalized here and there again, but not as bad as some other games. So
in October.
Nothing that affected the outcome too much.
Right.
But, eventually that might come back to bite them at some point in time. So hopefully not anytime soon. But, so the Pack is back to 500. They're 6-6 now with the win over the Chiefs. And they won the game. They really did win the game. 27-19. So here's my quick little rant. And when I listened to the broadcast after the game, I just got more and more upset. And so let me just
Yeah, let's
say
hear it.
this.
Yeah.
The Packers played better than the Chiefs did in all three
Mhm.
phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. They did.
Right.
TV announcers Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth, and John loves Chris Collinsworth,
Oh, man.
attempted to sully the victory by blaming the no calls and the suspect officiating. Shame on you both. And shame on anyone who watched the Packers' victory and thought that the Chiefs deserved to win. They did not.
Yes. They did not.
So, to let everybody know out there, sully means to damage the purity or integrity of, to defile. Okay, it's not a really good word. And so again, you're trying to take away from the Packers victory by making up excuses for the other team's ineptitude, because at times you got to admit that the Chiefs were inept and they
Mm.
didn't win the game. We won the game. So
Mhm.
the NFL and NBC needs to retract their bullshit excuses for the Chiefs losing the game and to apologize to the Packers team and
Mm.
organization for not giving the Pack credit where credit is due. And you hear that phrase all the time, everybody out there, and it's really
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the case. They really did sully the whole thing for me right at the end. And I was elated. It was awesome. But then they were, making up all these excuses for the Chiefs not winning, whereas they weren't talking about why the Packers won the game, right? So, John,
Mhm.
any rebuttal or agreement with me on what I just said? My little quick rant there.
Yeah, I just wanna do that to, Chris Collinsworth, give him a nice falcon punch. Wha here's my thing that drove me crazy. They kept and Chris Collinsworth is come on, just everybody get him out of there. He kept saying, like, "Wow, the Packers are really showing me something tonight. Oh, they're a young team, and, they're just doing their best," and he kept, like, saying, like, we're, like, some bunch of young kids just learning how to play football, and we're like, "Oh, look at them. Ooh, that was a nice run." And he was condescending. That's my big word. He was truly condescending of the Packers. They kept showing how young we were. We're the youngest team in the NFL, average age 25. Uh, okay, big deal. Ooh, Jordan Love starting to heat up. He's starting to show me something, and I'm just sitting there going, what? We're a professional football team. Oh, by the way, we're beating the world champions. Anything? But no, you're right. They kept saying, well, Mahomes doesn't have this, and Mahomes was just a little off there, and their defense doesn't have this, and Kansas City's like this, and oh, I don't know, if the Packers are gonna win this game. Near the end, they kept saying when they were down by 8 points, well, all Mahomes has to do with this minute whatever left, he's done it before, he'll do it again, and Chris Collinsworth legitimately said, and go back if you don't believe me. He said, "Well, you give Mahomes 12 seconds, he will tie this game up and we'll go into overtime." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about? This is."
Yeah, well, they had to score a
And he just
touchdown
kept
and they
doing
had to get the 2-point conversion. So both
yeah.
those things would have had to happen
And, it,
anyway.
and then when we'll talk about the crappy officiating, when the and yes, that's a pass interference call, but we'll talk about that against Valentine. But they kept saying, well, if they called that pass interference, then they'd had the ball at the 5 and they would have scored and they would have got their 2 point. I'm like, really? They tried that 2 point conversion before, it didn't work, and then the other one worked. How do you That's what bugged me. They didn't give the Packers enough credit to
Yep.
say, hey, Packers played pretty well against the greatest right now quarterback in the NFL. Okay.
Yes.
So that's what bugged me. That was my only rebuttal, is just like ridiculous that they talk to us like we're some college team and we're just lucky to be out there against the Super Bowl champions. Like, whatever. Like, guys, you guys got it. I would go in there and I would, like you said, Tirico and Collinsworth should go on social media and be like, hey, we're kind of patronizing you guys. We're sorry about that. You know, we didn't mean to sound that way, but they won't. You know, they'll just say, like, well, that's the way we call the game, which is crap. Nobody wants to hear that. So that's my little rebuttal. So anything else?
Yeah, sometimes they just treat the audience like they're idiots.
You're right. They do.
And
And
I
Tarico
and
does
I'm
though.
sorry, there's a lot of smart football fans out there, and
Yeah.
Collinsworth does not know everything. I do wish I didn't have to look at his smug face anymore
I
because
know,
he is
right?
smug. Just
Yeah.
turn the volume down, people, and look at his
Yeah,
face.
yeah, yeah.
He's smug.
Yeah.
He's smart.
Yeah.
He's just got the smugness about him, and I hate it. So just saying.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Tirico, he does have his
He's not.
moments that he's all right, but he kind of plays off of Collinsworth sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he needs to just be more in the middle and not take sides,
True.
or rein Collinsworth in sometimes with
Yeah,
some of the words,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
some of the things
Right.
he says. So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
leave it at
And
that.
Tarico is a professional broadcaster, not meant for
Yes.
football. He is meant for the Olympics. He is meant for, I don't know, Pan American Games. So that's who he's for. He's no Al Michaels who can do everything. Al Michaels to me is the GOAT, because he, even when games are just crap on Thursday, he'll be like, yeah, not great football are we watching, because people are watching it going, well, this sucks. So he's like, yeah, it sucks. And he's basically come out, not in so many words, and said that. And that's what I love about him, because he's just a he just does such a good job of not only communicating to people highbrow in the sports world, but also people who, are just somewhat fans, they're just kind of catching it out and they're just wondering what's going on. So yeah,
That's a great segue, John, talking about
yeah, let's go.
talking.
Yeah.
The seven takeaways that I had after the game.
Ooh,
The first takeaway is John and I both suck.
thank you.
We really suck at predicting outcomes to Packers football games. However, every single so-called expert on that debacle of an
Abaco.
yeah, of an NBC broadcast predicted the same thing, a Chiefs
Mm-hmm.
win. By the way, I've been wrong 3 straight weeks, and I am now sitting at 7-5 on the season. I was 7-2, now I'm 7-5.
Woo.
The 2 games that I thought we had no chance of winning, the Lions game on Thanksgiving, we had lost to them 4 straight regular season games. And the Chiefs game, it's the Chiefs, so I thought we'd lose those 2 games. The Packers won, though, and won convincingly.
Mm-hmm.
In essence, we beat 2 first-place teams vying for home field advantage in the playoffs and won meaningful games to all teams competing. John, Packers fans, I'm so glad that I was wrong and suck lately at procrastinating too, prognosticating. John, you suck too.
Thank you
Any
very much.
comment on that? So we've been
No,
wrong the last few weeks with the outcome of the games, but that's a good thing.
I
So
have
3
never
Packers victories in a row. We're
loved,
6-6.
never have loved being wrong more in my life. That's all I have to say. Next point.
Yep. So second takeaway is, as it stands right now, the Packers hold the 7th and final spot in the NFC playoffs. According to my furnace guy, Mike, that I met with this morning from All Comfort Services, they have
I
a
like.
66% chance of making the playoffs. I have no idea whether he's right or not, but that sounds about right.
No, yeah, it was
The
about
Packers sit in a 4-way tie with the Vikings, Rams, and
suck Hawks.
Seahawks. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Packers fans. There are still 5 more games to be played. But as of now, we're in the playoffs.
Well,
So
yeah.
we have the 7th and final spot in the NFC playoffs, John, which is
Yeah.
pretty awesome, right? Third takeaway that I've got is Jordan Love belonged. He belonged on the same field as the great Patrick Mahomes. That should give every Packers fan some hope for the future of this storied franchise moving forward. So that's the third take I've got. Unless you have a comment on that one, John.
Nope.
He's
Nope.
pretty awesome. We'll talk a little bit more about his
We'll talk a
day
little
a little bit later.
Yeah.
The fourth takeaway I had was the both offenses sustained drives all night, the Chiefs and the Packers, but it was the Packers defense that stepped up all night to keep the Chiefs out of the end zone for the most part. On a 2-point conversion early in the third quarter, the Packers D stopped running back Isaiah Pacheco to stay ahead 14-12. Pacheco ran all over him all night, but not on that crucial play. Give the Packers D some kudos. They stepped up all night when they had to get a stop. So that's my fourth takeaway, John. Fifth takeaway, the Packers receivers, Watson, Reed, Dobbs, Wicks, were more explosive and better than the Chiefs receivers, Kelsey, Rice, Valdez, Scantling, and then the fourth, I don't even know who the fourth would be. But at least those three. And that was a key. Love had receivers to throw to. Mahomes did not. Even Packers backup tight end Ben Sims scored his first touchdown and celebrated it with his first Lambeau leap. Wasn't that great, John? He did a great job. He leapt up in the stands and made it, right? So
nice job.
Awesome. Yeah, contributing. They had a couple guys open on that play, by the way, John. I think
did have a couple guys.
Tucker Kraft and him. There were a couple tight ends out of that.
Either one could have cut. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Wide open. Great play call. We'll get into that too. So the sixth takeaway I've got is that offensive line rotation must be working. At left tackle, Walker and Nyman were rotating series again. At right guard, Runyon and Ryan were doing the same. It definitely worked. And I just want to say that Elton Jenkins had an amazing run block. I don't know if you saw that, John, against star Chiefs defensive lineman Chris Jones that made Jones look really, really bad. He blew him out of the hole.
Yeah.
And there was a big gaping hole for, I think it was, I forget which running back it was. I don't think it was Taylor. It might have been Corey Dillon. Or not Corey Dillon, AJ Dillon on that. So,
yeah.
So seventh and last takeaway that I had is Matt LaFleur should receive much deserved credit for this 3-game win streak.
Oh, absolutely.
According to Matt Spofford, Packers.com editor, with regards to the Packers head coach, here's a quote from him. Matt said this: "If the team stayed the course, he believes the results would eventually follow. LaFleur credits the work the players have put in to improve, emphasizing turnarounds don't happen by accident." End quote. Well, they sure don't happen by accident, do they, John?
No, they don't.
Matt LaFleur has put the Packers squarely in the mix for a playoff spot thanks to positivity and belief. His play calling on Sunday night kept the opposing team guessing and discombobulated. Just look that up. The Chiefs D was without its two top signal callers, and it showed. Matt LaFleur took advantage of that chaos, the chaos that was happening in the Chiefs defense by creating his own with stellar offensive play calling. When the Packers needed a yard, he even called a love shove to pick up a first down and keep a drive going. Great job, LaFleur. So, any other takeaways you've got from the game? And how about that love shove?
Well, they kind of did it right.
Kind of.
Philadelphia has the market on that. They do amazing.
Well, that's what happens when you're Jalen Hurts and you can squat 600 pounds. So
damn right. Yeah. So what I think is funny is just, what was it, 2 or 3 episodes ago, we were saying Well, if they fire Matt LaFleur, who are you going to get? If they fire, are we going to replace him with Rich Bisaccia mid-season? Again, football is one of those things you got to take game to game. I know it sounds like I'm telling cliches here, but it's true. I mean, how many times have we been through this, Andy, where we started out, 3-2 or 2-3, and we don't look so good. And then we had Aaron Rodgers, right? And he would come up and spell relax, RELAX, or he would come up and say, hey, we're going to be fine. And you're kind of like, okay, we don't have that anymore. And I think that's what hurts Packer fans is we're like, we don't have someone going, hey guys, just calm down. We're going to be fine. We don't have that person on a young team. And I think that's what made Packer fans a little skittish, to say, well, we got to fire LaFleur. When, let's be honest, the average age again is 25 years old. 25. That's young, especially in the NFL. If that's your veteran, 25 years old, that's not a veteran. that's still a guy learning his way. So I just think it's really interesting how things change so quickly and how things can just move so fast in the NFL, where it's 1 week, you're like, what a bunch of bums. The next week, they're scoring 30 points. And you're like, what? Except for the Patriots, who truly suck. And I'm so happy about that.
Yep.
Anyway.
Big goose egg. To Los Angeles, too. The Los Angeles Chargers, who don't have the world's greatest defense either. So
6-0, folks. Hopefully you weren't.
Yeah, hopefully you did not watch that game.
You watched that game. You're stronger than me.
Can't get those 3 hours back.
Woo! I want that back. Okay. So next, what else do you got?
So 10 very interesting statistics and other reasons that were keys to the positive outcome. Of course, that victory the Packers got on Sunday. John, you want to read off these 10 things?
That'd
be awesome.
Little thing. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So 10 very interesting statistics and other reasons that were keys to the positive outcome. So the Packers, believe it or not, outgained the Chiefs on offense, 382 yards to 337. That is not easy to do, folks. They still have a potent offense, and you still got Andy Reid, who's a genius and one of the greatest coaches ever, calling the plays. So, don't use that as an excuse. And Love outplayed Mahomes. Love was 25 for 36. 69.4 completion rate. And Mahomes, where's Mahomes? Oh, Mahomes was 21 for 33, 1 TD, 1 interception. He had 4 rushing attempts. We'll talk about the rushing attempts. 26 yards. And Love had 2 rushing attempts for 10 yards. He had a quarterback rating of 118.6, which quarterback ratings
and most importantly, awesome. John, sorry to cut you off, was he threw for 3 touchdowns.
And 3 touchdowns.
And 267 yards, which was even more than Mahomes. So
yeah. So according to Matt Harmon of Yahoo Sports, Love was pitching heat all night. Okay, dude. That's baseball. Whatever. Against one of the best defenses in the NFL. That is true. This defense came in and was still, with their injuries, still very good. It was a full showcase of arm talent as he moved off platform and threw from a variety of angles, which, again, I'm a little concerned about because he doesn't have the arm strength of Rodgers, and he definitely doesn't have enough arm. So you got to be careful on that one. That's a little concerning. It was his 5th straight game over 7 yards per attempt, 3rd straight without a turnover, and 2nd in a row with 3 TD passes, end quote. So the Chiefs have the 2nd highest pressure rate and the 6th highest blitz rate in the NFL. J-Love stood tall against that pressure. And he really did. I only again only saw him leave the pocket a little too soon. On the last one where he, for whatever reason, when we had the game-winning field goal or the field goal to put us on top 8 points, I don't know what he was doing, but he
Yep.
just fell back 10 yards. When why don't you go forward? That was a little weird. I was yelling at the TV on that one. I was like, Jordan, just move forward. And then when you go
Step
down,
up
who
in the
cares?
pocket.
Yeah, but he kind of like went back and he fell down. And I'm like, was that planned? Did he slip? But anyway, so I'm glad that according to Jordan, he had the game circled on his calendar. He sure played motivated and great. And yes, he did have this circled, which is a lot of players do because you're going against. You can argue me. Don't give me this Brock Purdy crap. Mahomes is the best quarterback out there right now. Like, give me a break. You know. Travis Kelsey, next point, number 3 here, did not dominate, even with Taylor Swift in attendance. Well, whatever. He had 5 targets, 4 receptions for 81 yards. However, he was consistently open. Yeah, thanks, Joe Barry. For example, Kelsey, Travis freaking Kelsey was wide open on the middle. This is where I lost it. On 3rd and 18, and they picked up 27 yards.
Yep.
So, Joe Barry, please explain to me, how does someone, especially Travis Kelsey, your best weapon, get that wide open on 3rd down? Fired! And that drove me crazy because he's the security blanket. Travis Kelsey is. There is one thing about Travis Kelsey I'm noticing. He doesn't look like he's how do you say, involved anymore. He doesn't seem like he's having as much fun. He doesn't seem like it's not that he doesn't want to be out there, but trust me, when AJ Dillon was running it earlier on, like he was running scared, like he did when contact, right? It was noticeable. Till now, where you see AJ Dillon, and last night, this corner came up to get him, and he's went bam and just ran over him. And I was just like, yeah. And he was running like that all night. So you can see he's involved. And Kelsey, there were a couple of times they showed him on the bench, and he was just kind of staring into the distance and just kind of looked like a guy that I just want to go home to Taylor and have a kiss and a hug and let's
Yeah.
just spoon. You know what I
Just
mean? He
didn't
just
seem like
doesn't
he was
just
mentally in
no,
the game, and then the other
no,
thing was, it just seems like
no.
age is catching up with him.
Yes,
But I will say that he should have had way more than 81 yards
way
because he was
more.
open all night. And so
Mhm.
they only targeted him 5 times. That's their fault,
Yeah, stupid
because he
Joe
was
Barry.
open. He could still get open. He just doesn't look as spry as he used
No, he
to.
does not look right.
No, he's
Doesn't.
looking old.
He's
And
yeah,
again, he had 81 yards. Mahomes only had 210. So a
yeah,
big hunk of that production was Kelsey.
yeah.
And so
And
I'm just glad they didn't take advantage of that
yeah.
because
And
he definitely can outplay our linebackers. They
oh,
cannot cover him.
absolutely. That's what we were worried
So
about. Yeah, that's what we
exactly.
were
They
worried
should have
about in our
been.
preview. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And
Yep.
by the way, one thing with Kelsey too is again, I just thought it was weird that we didn't have anyone spy him. I thought that was a little weird. But also remember too, Kelsey's played a lot of football. I mean, a lot. All the playoff games, all the Super Bowls, when everyone's getting their rest, he's still playing. And that catches up to you. I don't care who you are. That just catches up to you with all the football you play. So
Yeah, and he's
this
been
guy,
bagged up in his lower, like his knee, his
yeah,
ankle, that his lower
yeah, yeah,
legs. And when you
yeah.
keep getting chipped
Yep,
down there, you just
yep.
aren't going to be as quick. You
You
aren't going
just
to be
not
able to make
right.
your cuts like he has
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
So it's a little bit of everything
yeah, yeah.
going on.
So number 4, Isaiah Pacheco. This guy, I don't know what it is. but he must have like Tasmanian devil blood or something.
Yeah.
Because he had 18. Check this out. 18 Packer Blitz fans, 18 rushing attempts, only 18. We had 110 yards, 6.1 average, 1 TD, 3 receptions for 17 yards. He gets kicked out near the end there. If he didn't, who knows? He made the Packers run D look bad. Well, again, that's nothing new, especially on the run to the 1 yard line. That was insane. Took
Yep.
like the whole damn team and some of the crowd to
Correct.
jump out to stop him. And the thing about him is that he's not that big. He's not really that fast, but he just has, I don't know what it is. I was watching him. I'm like, guys, I'm like literally coaching. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I'm literally coaching the defensive lineman. I'm like, you got to square up on him. You got to wrap him around the legs. And then you got to get somebody in there to help.
Yep.
And
Hang
what
on
were
for
they
dear
doing?
life.
I saw Quay Walker. He tried tackling him around the
High.
shoulders.
You can't
And I'm
do
like, what
that.
are you doing?
Yep.
What?
To be
Stop
quite
that.
honest,
Yeah.
John, I think the Packers fans did a better job stuffing him than anybody else did.
Yeah.
When he tried,
So,
they made him
yeah.
look bad with that Lambeau leap, right? When he got
So,
rejected. You guys need to see that on whatever media platform you
yeah,
could see it
YouTube,
on, because
whatever.
it's hilarious.
Yeah. So,
So
people, if you don't know, he tried to do a Lambeau leap, and the fans wanted nothing with it, and they got shoved him back. And I'm like, hey,
yep.
put that guy on the defensive line.
Yeah, and then but the thing is, then he made it worse. He turned toward the crowd. He's like pointing at him. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, what are
I
you
know
doing,
who
man?
you are, that type of thing. And it's like, come
Like,
on.
come
That's what
on.
happens when you try to do a Lambeau leap at Lambeau Field and you're like leaping into Packers fans. What do you expect's going to happen to you?
So I
So,
saw I don't know who it was, uh a few years ago, somebody tried to do a Lambeau leap and they shoved him out and they dumped a bunch of beer on the guy. So he was soaked with beer. And by the way, beer is not cheap at Lambeau anymore. You could be doing $12 to $14 a cup. So anyway, Goody LaFleur, we're doing this again. Make a note. Note to self. Stop the run and fire Joe Barry. Oh my God. Unbelievable. I just can't. Okay, we've done that enough ad nauseum. What are we doing? Okay, so
yep.
number 5, the Packers' ultra young passing core continues to carry its own weight. These rookie and second year receivers are peaking at the right time. Christian Watson ruled the day. Yeah, he's starting to play well. Hopefully, he's not hurt. He had a
Hammy,
hamstring injury. I haven't heard anything.
the hammy,
Hopefully, it's
but
good
yeah,
news. If he was out, we probably would hear something today or tomorrow. Hopefully, knock on wood, we do not.
right.
Romeo Dobbs.
Oh, you got to talk about
Well,
Christian Watson's great day, John. He had a pair of touchdown receptions.
yeah,
He had 7
I was going to get to
receptions
that. I was
for
going to get to
71
that.
yards. Okay. Okay.
I was going to get
Sorry.
to that. No, that's all right. But here's my thing, though. Romeo Dobbs, he continues to show why he's a trusted target down the
Mhm.
field in tight coverage. And it was hilarious that these defenders are around him and they're like, here comes the ball. Wee! And I'm like, oh no, they're going to intercept it. And then he's falling down on his back. He catches it. And I was just crazy, man. I was just crazy. And he made some other really nice catches and everything. Now, getting back to Christian Watson, yes, he had a really great day. He had 7 receptions, 71 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. The only thing I would pick on him again is one of them wasn't contested, but the other one was. And here's the thing with Christian Watson: you're big, you're strong, you're fast. You should not have contested catches. You should have where you're getting separation and making that other guy in your dust. And it's the only thing I would say about him, because that's gonna be really hard down the line for people, Christian Watson to go against a great cornerback and they're not going to have any of that. And if he doesn't get separation, so he's still got to work on that. He's getting better though. Jaden Reed, unfortunately, didn't do much in the game. He had that first kind of jet sweep kind of thing, but he has still been an electric playmaker as of late. Wicks may have missed the Thanksgiving game, but he contributed in this one too. I really like him. I think he's a good possession receiver. He's a third receiver for us. And if he continues to grow, that's great. He can be one of those receivers. I'm trying to think, not a Randall Cobb. I'm trying to think of someone that we had that was kind of a third receiver that would kind of flash from time to time, and nothing comes to mind because we've had so many in that position that have just been like, yeah, he does what he has to do, and kind of makes the catch when you have to.
John, it's strength in numbers. I mean, they've got so many people now. You can't defend everybody.
That is true.
So somebody's going to get open. And actually, in the case of Dontavian Wicks, he gets open quite a bit.
He does.
I mean, he was getting wide open. So, so he seems to be finding those soft zones. And running good routes. That's usually how you get open,
Absolutely.
So and again, you got one guy on him, you don't have two guys on him, right? So he's able to get open. So that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. And the other guy that we were kind of thinking about that we couldn't think about is Malik Heath, which had outstanding, extremely outstanding preseason. He's kind of disappeared. Hopefully, again, he can step up because we will need him. So AJ Dillon, somebody lit something under his butt again. He grinded out some really tough yards against a really stalwart Chiefs run defense, which ranked 8th in the league. In DVOA, what's DVOA?
Yeah, it measures how effective a team defense as a whole is on
I
each
know you
play.
talked about that in one of our episodes.
Yep.
Anyway, he wound up rushing 18 times for 73 yards. He definitely attended Squad University.
That's awesome. You hear that, John? When they go through the players at the beginning, that's where he was from. He was from Squad University. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That's good, man. I love that. One of the things, though, we have to be careful of, he is not a feature back. Never going to be a feature back. Ain't going to happen. He is He is Robin to Batman. You know what I'm saying? So he is not a guy that you want to continue to do this because it will wear on him. He'll wear on other players. Come December, which we are in right now, when it gets that cold, you do not want to tackle him. Unfortunately, we only have 2 games at home. We have the Bears and the Buccaneers. The rest are on the road, so that kind of sucks. But okay, so let's get the 7 here. Packers pass rushers: Clark, Gary, Smith, and Van Ness. Oh, I like Van Ness. He's starting to get better. Harass Mahomes just enough to make him uncomfortable. I like Van Ness. He's got to learn some better technique. There were times he was caught up. So he's got to learn that. And of course, Rashawn Gary, he may not have got to the quarterback as much as he did in Detroit, but there were times like he was pushing people back. And if it wasn't for Mahomes being the quarterback he is, oh my God, he would have had a lot of sacks. Carl Brooks, he was in there. Kenny Clark, Preston Smith. I really think those guys did pretty well. So, number 8, Keeson Nixon had a key interception. And at his locker post-game, and I thought this was interesting.
Yes.
He said, we were watching mannerisms tape earlier in the week on Mahomes. And he tapped his knee, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this before. I knew he was going to run it, and he ran it. End quote. Keeson paid attention to Mahomes' tendencies and knew which way the quarterback was throwing. So anything on that?
Yeah, so on that interception that he had, John, he saw that mannerism from Mahomes. He knew that
Mhm.
he was tapping
Right?
to the two. There were a couple of receivers out there, so he was making signals to one of the receivers, I think, to go outside, and so that's where he jumped it, where he knew where the ball was coming that way, and he was able to track down the ball, and he made that interception. So
Yeah.
yep.
Nice
So
play. That was
he knew what Mahomes was up to, and when he tapped his knee, I think it was his right knee, he knew
Mhm,
that on the right hand side that he was on,
mhm.
that's where he was going to go with the ball. So
That's there you go. Always gotta study, kids.
yep,
Gotta study. Number
yep.
9, Quay Walker had 13 tackles, and I don't think he's at 100%. He looked a little bit tentative out there, like he was trying to not, like, do something. I do like one time I thought he was gonna get a flag where Pacheco was running and he got him and he just threw him down and Pacheco got up
Oh
in his
yeah,
face. And I was like, oh crap. Here we
yeah,
go.
yeah,
And I thought, oh man, he's gonna get kicked out.
yeah.
But he didn't.
Quay actually led the team in tackles with the 13. So
Yeah. And the funny thing is he did not get upset. I was, oh boy, here we go. And speaking of 10, cornerback Corey Ballantyne had 10 tackles. So
yeah,
2 guys had 23 tackles. That's a
yeah, and
lot.
that's a
That's a
cornerback
lot.
doing that, John. So I figured
Yeah, I
I'd
love it.
bring that one in. I think he had
Love it.
5 solo tackles and 5 assisted. So
Mhm.
good game
Yeah,
from him. So
great game.
which
Great game.
segues into the next segment, John. Why don't you take
Yeah.
that one?
All right. Did you say you want me to take this one?
Go right ahead, because I'm not sure what
Okay.
you're gonna say about it. These are mine.
Oh, yeah, no.
So,
Uh, First of all, Packers Blitz players of the game, these were as I changed mine, but
okay,
Andy, why don't you go
okay.
offense?
I had quarterback Jordan Love again, of
Mm,
course, and I had wide receiver, Christian Watson for the offensive players of the game. So,
nice,
and you had
nice.
some different choices. So,
Yes, I did. I had Romeo Dobbs and AJ Dillon. I
oh,
picked Romeo Dobbs because I think he made plays that helped us. Maybe not show up on the stat sheet or on the late score or whatever. But and AJ Dillon definitely near the end, Kansas City was like, I don't know, man. You saw them kind of backing up. I think if we had a little bit better offensive line, I think we could have ran him most of the night, and we could have walked away with that game.
yeah,
So,
he kinda tenderized them a little
yeah,
bit, didn't he? So,
yes,
yeah,
that's why I
so
would have loved to
okay.
have Aaron
Yeah,
Jones
usually
back.
we agree on these, and tonight we did not, which is
No, we
fine.
did
But
not.
I'm pretty. I mean, I'm happy with my choices. You're happy with yours, so that's fine.
Yeah, so let's go into
Whatever.
defensive players of the game.
Yeah, I mean,
And here's
I had cornerback Corey Ballantyne, and
nice.
so I think he's not getting enough credit, and he's kind of stepped in with
Yep,
Jair out, and
yep,
so I wanted to give him some cred, and
nice.
that's what I did. So he's my defensive player of the game.
That's a
So
great choice. Great choice. Love it. I'm going to say Rashawn Gary again because even when Rashawn Gary is not making sacks, he's pushing people back. He's getting in people's faces. He's making Preston Smith and Kenny Clark look better because now you have to double Rashawn Gary. You can't put a tight end on him. You can't put a running back on him. You got to get some help. You got to be able to chip him. And if you do that, guess what? Old man Preston Smith,
that's right.
he's coming
Freeze
at
him up.
you, and Kenny Clark can come in the middle because
Yep.
you're just moving to you just can't. You gotta keep Rashawn Gary limited, or it's gonna be a long day for you, which is awesome to say because we gave him the money, we gave him the bag, and he's playing, I feel, his best season by far. So there we go. All right, special teams. We agree on this one, right? Who is it?
Kicker is Anders Carlson for sure. He
Yeah,
made 2 clutch field goals in the second half, one from 40 yards away and the other one from 48 yards. So
yeah,
I had to recognize him. He really made some clutch kicks.
he did.
And I also wanted to shout out to Dan Whelan, our punter. He pinned them back
Yeah,
at the 2-yard line once. And so when he did punt, he didn't punt very often. He was very effective. So I figured I'd bring him up too. But it's definitely Anders Carlson. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so let's
Oh,
go
sexy
to
girlfriend.
Ask Andy.
okay. I don't know what that was.
I was having a little fun with you. All right, are you ready, buddy?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the way.
All right. We are 2/3 of the way through the season. Who is your Packers MVP so far? I know, Carl Brooks. Okay, maybe not Carl Brooks. Is it Jaden Reed, Rashawn Gary, somebody else?
Yeah,
Andy?
for me, of course, it's Rashawn Gary. He is the only player on this roster, the only one who, one can say he may be a future NFL Hall of Famer one day. His consistent level of talent, effort, and leadership are unbelievable, inconceivable, even. Can anybody say that he's had a single okay or bad game this season? Nope. So
Nope.
my choice, of course, is Rashawn Gary, and it's
Interesting.
not even
Love it.
close. So I think he's the MVP so far. So
Love
that's
it.
my choice. So
Love it.
did that answer the question?
Yes.
I got
Thank
Rashawn
you.
Gary for sure. So
Awesome. So everyone understand this. We still have Jordan Love for next season. He's under contract. Okay. It's not a big contract, but he is under contract. But my question is, would you sign Jordan Love to a contract extension if and when the Packers make the playoffs this year?
yeah, I would only sign him to a contract
Hmm.
extension on the cheap
Yeah.
at the end of the year. If
Okay.
if the Packers truly believe that they have their next franchise quarterback, I'm still not sure. I think
Mhm.
it's definitely trending that way, but I said I
Okay.
was gonna make it determined after the season, so I can't really
Yep.
say that. But if the
Yep.
Packers truly believe that, then you sign him and you sign him now. Uh, and you don't wait until the end of 2024, until the end of
Mhm.
that season. Make a financially responsible decision. Don't end up like Dallas, the Dallas
No.
Cowboys did a few years back
Oh
when they
boy.
had to overpay for
Yes.
Dak Prescott. Jerry Jones created a situation where he waited, dragged out contract talks, and created drama where there shouldn't have been any. Packers, Goody, don't fall into Rust Ball. Don't fall into that trap. So that's where I am with that. So yeah, if he keeps trending this way, I think you need to sign him sooner than
Yeah, you gotta
later
be
to get him on
careful.
the cheap.
You gotta be careful.
Right.
So I agree. So third question. If well, if and when Zach
Yeah.
Wilson, that is the kind of Jets quarterback, would you pick him up for a backup? Andy. Zach Wilson's been
Yeah.
cut. Would you pick him up?
Yeah. There was a lot in the news cycle today about that constantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, he fits the mold of a Packers quarterback. Big arm, throws off platform, throws at different arm angles. Also, the Packers have been good at developing young offensive talent. A change of scenery may be a good thing for Zach Wilson and the Jets. He may end up being a good addition to the Packers quarterback room as well. However, breaking news. Beep, 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 beep. The Jets asked Wilson to become their starting quarterback again after being
What?
benched in favor of journeyman Tim Boyle. He used to be a Packers backup, by the way,
Yes, dude.
and Trevor Simeon.
Oh God.
Wilson is now reluctant to play,
Mm.
and hesitant. Let me be clear on this, John. Packers Blitz fans, Zach Wilson is a cancer.
Mm.
Refusing to play while getting paid doesn't sit well with me, and it surely doesn't sit well in an NFL locker room where other players are risking injury every game. Zach Wilson should never be a Packer. Zach Wilson will never be a Packer, period. So that's where I am on that. So, yeah, talent wise, I think he's a good fit, but I think personality wise and how he is in the locker room and then how he is as far as being a leader, I don't think he's a good fit. So I'm saying no to that, John.
Yeah.
What do you think,
He,
John?
oh my God, it would be hard to pass that up. Really
Okay.
hard.
Yeah.
But he reminds me of Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler. Yeah.
Great arm talent, great athlete. He is a smart guy. Everyone said he was dumb. I don't agree with that. He went through like 4 offensive coordinators in like 5 years when he was with Chicago. So, give the guy a break on that one. Ah, man, that'd be so hard to pass up because I think he could push Jordan Love, but not really. You know what I'm saying? He's not that talented. That Jordan Love, if he continues to trend up, he's not going to sweat him. He's like, give me a break. Um, okay, so there we go.
So
Ask Andy.
is
We will
over.
continue with Ask Andy because I think it's a hit here, and I think it will
Okay,
be
sounds good.
funny.
Well,
All right,
today we're gonna do something fun, and we're gonna do something a little
all
bit
right.
different. So this is John's look backward in time at 1980s hits and Jordan Love. So the first hit that I have on this hit list, John, is Huey Lewis and the News, and the song name is "Do You Believe in Love" from 1982. That was the first top 10 hit for Huey Lewis in the News, by the way, peaking at number 7. It was written by Mutt Lange. And if
Oh my God!
anybody that doesn't know, he was formerly married to Shania Twain,
Come
produced,
on.
produced songs for AC/DC, Def Leppard, Foreigner, and countless others, Maroon 5, whatever. There's a whole bunch of other bands. He's a great producer. So the chorus of that song is this, John. Do you believe in love? Do you believe it's true?
Do
Do you believe in
believe in
love?
love,
Oh, you're
or you
making me
making me believe it
believe it
too.
too. So,
All right.
John, do you believe in Jordan Love? That's the question.
I'm going to say yes, but caveat. Let's see at the end of the year. Let's see where we're at. I agree with you. Let's just hold on to that. Okay. We'll
Okay.
see trending up, like you said, trending up.
Okay. So the second hit was also from Huey Lewis in the News, which was The Power of Love from 1985. And if you remember this song, people out there remember that this song was written for
Oh my
the soundtrack of the 1985 blockbuster
dear.
film Back to the Future, the band's first number 1 hit.
Hmm.
So verse 1 of this, right away in the beginning of the song, the power of love is a curious thing. Make a one man weep, make another man sing. Change a hawk to a little white dove. More than a feeling, that's the power of love. So, John, my question is, what are the superpowers of Jordan Love? So, from
Mm,
what you've seen, there's been a little bit more juice the last few games. So, what
yes.
superpowers do you think Jordan Love has? So,
So I think his
the
superpowers
power of
are
love.
I think he's better at reading defenses. I think that's getting a lot better. Also, I think his throws from every angle is impressive. I'd be a little, let's not get ahead of ourselves. He doesn't have the arm strength of Favre Rogers. So let's settle that down a little bit. And I do think he's a great motivator, which is really weird to say because there hasn't been not one Packer player which they all say the same BS. Oh yeah, I love my quarterback and blah 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 blah. And then they get out somewhere and they're like, he's an idiot. No, everyone has been just crazy about him and like literally like the guy. I mean, AJ Dillon, when asked, what's the difference between Rodgers and Love? He said, well, Rodgers, is a great player and he's doing his thing and he's out, whatever. And then he said, Jordan he's going to be a great quarterback. We love playing for him. We love, everything about him. And he sounded like a guy that was being honest rather than just saying what people want to hear. So that's wow, taking over for a Hall of Fame quarterback and doing that in less than a year. That's a superpower. That is a big superpower.
Yeah, it's quarterbackial, right?
Yes.
Being the quarterback, right? The starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers franchise.
That's a tough gig, man. That is not easy. Not anymore.
So the third last hit from the 1980s, Sammy Hagar's "I'll Fall in Love Again."
That's
from
good song.
1982.
Good song.
On the album Standing Hampton, released on my birthday, January 6th, by the way, of not 1982. That was my birthday, but January 6th, my birthday.
You wish.
So, I wish. Right. So the chorus goes like this, but it's all right with me now. I'll get back up somehow. And with a little luck, I'm bound to win. 'Cause I'll fall in love again. So,
all right, karaoke.
You love Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely.
I love Brett Favre. Have you fallen in love with Jordan Love enough that you can honestly say that he may be the next Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers?
No.
Okay.
He's got we talked about this over the past couple episodes, the juice, the wow factor, right? And in Detroit, yes, I saw that wow factor where you're like, oh, okay, he's starting to get it, right? And then we saw a little bit here in the Kansas City game. But Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers did it consistently, right? And that's what all it comes down to. You have to do it year in, year out. And that, we just don't have enough on that, right? So let's say we make it to the playoffs this year, which would be amazing, by the way. And let's say we play the Dallas Cowboys, right? And let's say we beat them. Now, wow, he's on the path. He's got me on the path. I'm starting to say, okay, you're starting your journey. Let's see where it goes, because those would be, huge, absolutely huge. And I can't remember. We'll have to look back here, but I don't think. Oh boy, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers won their first playoff game. I don't know when it was. I know Brett Favre won against Detroit because I'm watching the Barry Sanders documentary, and I believe that was 94, I believe. And that was, I think, his second year in the league. I'm not really sure. We'll have to I'll ask Andy or my stat guy. You can look that up sometime when we come back to that. But I remember Aaron Rodgers. I'm trying to think his first playoff win. Boy, that's a hard one too. I'd have to look that up. But the main thing was when they got that, you were like, okay, now we're talking. And obviously we got bounced quite a bit in divisional rounds and stuff. But, who knows?
So I was going to add, John, being a starting quarterback in the NFL, you have to be able to change and adapt. So again, You're right. You're spot on. We need to see him, next year as well. You got a quarterback like Nick Foles, Super Bowl winning quarterback, to
God.
Basically out of the NFL. So I don't even know if he's in the NFL at the moment.
No.
And so who would have thought that? Because he played so well in that game. You thought he was going to be a starter for years and years to come, and it just wasn't, because he wasn't able to do what he had to do to be able to adapt and change to whatever the defensives, how they were playing him. So again, went from starting quarterback to basically a backup and then out of the NFL. So we're on to our next part. We're trying to make this the longest, podcast ever. How about them refs, John? Why don't you take this one? Because you're the one who wanted to talk about this, and I don't blame you because was very, yeah.
So when I saw that hit, unnecessary roughness penalty, I was like, no! I was like, no! Just screaming. I'm like, I couldn't believe that. I just, are you kidding me? And I was just like, somebody's paid off. This is ridiculous. But according to Ryan Young of Yahoo Sports, he was still in bounds when Owens hit him, which he was, by the way.
Yes,
and
he
had
was.
lowered his shoulder, which he did,
Yes.
towards Owens in an attempt to gain more yards.
Mm-hmm.
But the hit was clean. It was perfectly legal, end quote.
Yep.
So it was total BS. There's an article out there I sent to Andy.
Yep, it is total BS.
One of the things that the referees are trying to CYA, cover your ass, they were saying from our angle, from the ref's angle, not from the ref's side judge or whoever's over there, said the person was out of bounds and it was a shot, unnecessary roughness. Now the thing is, why didn't they should have had some from New York look at it and go, nope, pick up the flag, we're good. But they didn't, and I'm sick of that. I'm totally sick of that crap. The refs this year have had one of the worst officiating seasons of all time. It's epic proportion. So let's get on to the next one.
Yeah.
So later in the same drive, the refs defended an extremely, oh man. And if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I get you, man. I feel you, but you're getting the calls this year. So just, take it what you need to take it. It's a controversial defensive pass interference. No call on Carrington Valentine. Yes, he appeared to interfere with Chiefs receiver MVS. I'm not even going to say his name. Takes too much damn time. On a downfield pass to set up Casey in the inside Green Bay's 10. Yeah, it definitely was. No doubt. It was pass interference. But it was like a makeup call, which you've seen so many times in the NFL. I've been watching it like Andy and I, since we've been little shavers, where they'll call something that's total horrible, and then they'll make a makeup call down the road, and you're like, what? Why don't you just call it right? And we don't have to be there.
Yeah, they do that a lot in the NBA. A lot.
Right. A lot. Exactly.
That makeup call.
And then
baseball too, with the strike zone and whatnot. Balls.
So the refs, they were doing pretty good. And then near the end there, I was just like, are you guys like money on this game? Like, what's going on? Anyway, and then there finally was, oh my God.
Yeah, I added this one.
Pass interference on Travis Kelce on the play of the game. A Hail Mary pass from Patrick Mahomes. Jonathan Owens, yes, he suddenly pushed Kelce in the back to knock him out of the pass's path.
Yep.
And defense pass interference is rarely called on a Hail Mary because it obviously it can decide the football game, which I think is bullshit. And just let it go. And we had the worst Packer fans. You remember, Andy, the Hail Mary game, which the Seahawks with replacement refs, even though we had the ball and intercepted it and was on the ground with possession, the Seahawks were called to have a touchdown. And this is why I hate the Suckhawks and I hate Pete Carroll so much, because in that game, and you can look on the audio, Pete Carroll went up to the ref, who, when one ref said interception, Packers ball, the other ref just kind of sat there, didn't know what to do. And so Pete Carroll came up to the ref who didn't know what to do, and he said, it's a touchdown. Call a touchdown. And he was like that. You can see him mouth it. And then the guy goes, touchdown? And I just lost I remember losing it. And that is the worst Hail Mary ever. There is none close to that, the bad officiating. And if you remember, the next week, the NFL went, oops, we better bring back the real refs. Because we just screwed the Packers out of a win. So there you go. I just think Hail Marys, you can bite, scratch, kick. I don't care. It doesn't matter. All rules are gone. So to me, it's no big deal. What do you think, Andy?
Agree with you totally, as usual.
There we go. All right, let's get into game preview. You want to do this one?
And we hate you, Pete Carroll.
Oh, Pete Carroll, you suck.
Yes.
I hate
Moving on.
Moving on. All right.
Set a new record for length. Yep. So the game preview for this week, the Packers at the Giants at MetLife Stadium, same stadium that I believe the Jets play at as well. Monday, December 11th, Monday night at 7:15 p.m. on ABC.
Monday night.
Boy, too bad they didn't move that to a different day.
They should have got out of that
That's
one.
That's going to be awful. It's going to be awful.
Yeah.
So it's on ABC, everybody. Green Bay is favored by 6.5 points. The over-under is 37.
Oh, no.
37 points.
No way.
Seriously?
No.
The total is 37 points.
No.
This is going to be a hard watch. Boring. This is also a trap game. The Packers need to remain diligent and focus.
Big trap.
Focused on winning ball games. Do not overlook this 4-8 opponent like the Washington Commanders did twice this season. Yes, they lost to the Giants twice. That's why they are 4-8 as well, and they should really be 6-6 and in the playoff hunt, but they suck. Even worse than the Giants do. The Giants have actually won 2 straight contests, John. They are still alive in the playoff race, and they are in the 12th spot at the moment. You have to get to the 7th spot where we are, but they're in the 12th spot. They aren't eliminated yet, is the point. After many injuries to their starting quarterbacks, New York Giants' latest starting quarterback is Tommy DeVito. I love him in those Jersey Mike's commercials. Also, I loved him on the TV show Taxi. And he was fantastic in the movie Twins, starring along Arnold Schwarzenegger. Seriously, folks, Tommy DeVito is Patrick Mahomes. He does somehow have a respectable 92.4 quarterback rating. I don't know how he's that high.
How do you do that?
I don't know. So it's pretty respectable. Got to give it credit for that. Quarterback Tyrod Taylor has been designated to return from IR and can possibly begin to practice. Will he be in line to start this week against the Packers? I don't know. John doesn't know. Nobody knows at this point. But I'm just saying, as of now, the quarterback for the Giants is Tommy DeVito.
DeVito.
Right. So if you're the Packers, you cannot lose to this team. You cannot. And so we've lost to with Daniel Jones before, over in London, right? So it's possible, but basically the Giants are pathetic. The 31st in points scored at 13.3 points per game on offense. That's it. They're 26th in points allowed at 24.3 points per game. So they're in the negative 11 points, basically. It's 24-13 every time they play. They're 32nd in offensive yards per game at 289.2. They're 32nd in pass yards per game at 182.1. And they are 18th in rush yards at 101.7. They're actually better than us, I think. They're actually pretty darn close to us. I think we're just a few off of where they are. Running the ball with Saquon Barkley is the Giants' one way to win this game. Saquon has 697 rushing yards. Passing the ball to Saquon Barkley, Barkley has 4 touchdowns in the passing game, is the second path to victory for them. So you have to take care of Saquon Barkley is what I'm trying to say. They're 31st in third down efficiency at 30.9%. So they're horrible on third down. They're 29th in sacks. So they really don't get to the quarterback either. They have 21. But they are fifth in interceptions with 12, and that is the third way the Giants win the game. They intercept Jordan Love. Now Jordan's been really good lately with not throwing interceptions, so I'm not trying to jinx them, but that's their third way that they may win the game. If the Packers are a good team, like Jordan Love says, like J Love says, then you have to beat this bad team. So Jay Love said the Packers are good. They are a good team, and they're going to continue to be a good team. Well, if you're going to be a good team, you got to beat bad teams, right, John? Right, Packers fans?
Absolutely.
So our not so bold predictions, because we suck at it lately. So my prediction are the Packers winning. They're going to win this week. 31-13 over the Giants, because we should beat them 31-13. Giants average 13 points a game. That's about where they're going to be at. They might score 10, maybe 16. We're going to score even more than last week, because we should, against the Giants, and we're going to score 31. So I'm saying 31-13, Packers win. John?
Oh boy. 23-16, Pack.
Okay.
Let's pray on it that happens, because this is a game you got to win this game. You got to beat three teams down the road: Carolina, the Giants, and
or just win all five, and then
Tampa Bay. That should be a win. Minnesota and Chicago, but Chicago played Minnesota really well at their place. So that worries me a little bit, because guess what happened last year, folks? We want to be in the same place where Detroit had nothing, and they boat raced us out of the freaking playoffs. So we have to get going and win this game. Hopefully, then we can go to Carolina, beat them, beat Tampa. It would be great if we could beat Minnesota at home, but they'll have Jefferson back, and he is going to be looking for light us up. That's a tough game. And then you play the Bears, which could decide whether we make the playoffs or not. So, got to win this game, man. That's a tough one. So, conclusion of the longest and podcast.
Yeah, it's a history-making podcast, right?
Here we go.
And the longest. I would not want to be Dan Campbell, Jared Goff, or a Lions fan, for that matter, period.
Okay.
There is a chance that the Packers may play them for the third time this season in the playoffs at Ford Field again. Do you think that the Lions want any part of the Packers?
Nope.
I think not.
No.
I'm excited, almost as excited and aggravated as the Eagles head of security, who was on the sidelines during the Eagles 49ers game. I want to be just like Dom.
Hey, Bobby.
Dom, love the name. He seems like he has mafia ties
and
owns his own Philly cheesesteak place. What a great front for a money laundering scheme. After the last 2 weeks, with incidents now involving security at an NFL game, the Packers really need their own enforcer. Why can't it be an imposing guy like Dom, who polices the sideline and doesn't take shit from anybody? The Packers don't need someone on the sideline who looks like a Make-A-Wish kid. Lil Wayne, anyone? No way. The Packers need an edge. They need to be the ones who kick butt and take no prisoners. It starts with who is allowed on their sidelines. Maybe former wrestling stars like The Rock or The Undertaker. How about that, John?
I like that.
Yeah. During the past 2 wins against the Lions and the Chiefs, the Packers have been the ones kicking butt. To quote a famous line from Rowdy Roddy Piper in the movie They Live. In the movie They Live, Roddy says this: I have come to here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Out of bubblegum.
John, Packers fans, Packers Blitz fans, the Packers are all out of bubblegum.
Rod bubble gum.
Okay, John. That's it.
All right, buddy. Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Please hit subscribe and like 5 stars wherever you listen to Packers Blitz podcast. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Andy and I are looking excited that we are right this time.
Yeah.
About our prediction. And again, Packers Blitz 80 at gmail.com. Hey, you can make fun of us. You can throw whatever topics you want in there. Tell us how you think you like Ask Andy. We'd love to hear from you, Packer fans. So go, Pack, go.
Go, Pack, go.
I love you, buddy. Talk to you later.